What's up, everyone? Today we got some super underrated fried chicken, in my opinion. Got fried chicken from Jollibee's. Definitely get the spicy one, since I think the original, there's no seasoning with this hot spiciness compared to the spicy chicken. So, yeah, definitely get that. And I was pleasantly surprised that the first time I tried Jollibee's, actually, it's kind of interesting. I believe, Filipino people like to eat the fried chicken with gravy. So they have like gravy on the side for like their chicken. And particularly, I know a lot of people will probably, bash me on this, but I'm not too big of a fan of their spaghetti. It's just my opinion. To me, it's probably catered to Filipino taste, obviously, but the spaghetti, in my opinion, kind of tastes a little too sweet for my taste. At least that's what I think. But anyways, yeah, let's get into it. Dip the gravy with the chicken. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so yesterday night I tuned into a show that is very popular with the young crowd these days, called Rick and Morty. So I believe we're in season 4 right now, and actually it's been quite some time since this new episode came out compared to the last episode. So it's been like a couple months. I think due to some circumstances, the creators of Rick and Morty, delayed the episode until episode 6 until yesterday. And I was hoping, I was crossing my fingers, all due to the coronavirus and everything happening. And definitely some animes as well are being pushed back due to COVID-19. But I was, luckily Rick and Morty wasn't delayed any further. So I'm going to talk about what happened in episode 6. And, but before that, let me just give you a little background of the story of Rick and Morty. So pretty much Rick and Morty is about a grandson and grandfather going on numerous adventures with each other. So it pretty much entails the life of this family and the crazy adventures they go on. So Jerry and Beth are the father and mother of Summer and Morty, and then so the daughter's name is Summer, and their son is named Morty, and the grandfather is named Rick Sanchez. And there's a very interesting character dynamic between all these characters. So pretty much this whole series, if I had to summarize it, it's just it's madness. There's so much going on, just craziness going on. So pretty much there's Rick and Morty go on adventures. Could happen in different realities, dimensions, and they also travel to other planets. Anything in this show cannot be thrown out the window. Sorry. So pretty much, Rick is a mad scientist, and you can say maybe his part-time job could be an alcoholic as well. So he's always has some drool out of his mouth, drinking alcohol left and right every couple minutes. But we can see that Rick kind of avoids certain areas of his life, like marriage, family, love life, and and Morty is a good representation of a polar opposite of his personality. Morty is a very, kind-hearted individual and can definitely be naive at times. But due to, maybe his grandfather, Rick Sanchez, he may not be the greatest influence on him. Excuse me. Okay, and then Summer, his sister, she's just a typical, teenager. She's nothing out of the ordinary for a character design. And, occasionally, sometimes she goes on adventures with Rick and Morty as well. So we're moving on to Beth, the mother of the household. So pretty much, she's typically a normally level-headed person for the most part, and sometimes she feels self-conscious about her occupation as a horse surgeon. And throughout the whole series, we see her and Jerry struggle in their marriage a lot. I believe they married at a very young age, and I think they had summer quite early as well. And then we're moving on to Jerry, the husband of Beth. So, as I mentioned before, the marriage is a little shaky, and, you know, Jerry doesn't really like Rick that much, to be honest. And he's always competing for, admiration in the household. So, yeah, there's that character dynamic there. Okay, let's get some more chicken before we talk about episode 6. Oh man, there's so many great episodes of Rick and Morty. I was put on by Rick and Morty by when I actually visited Canada. My uncle actually put me on, and he's relatively closer to my age. He's not that much older than me, a couple years, like 28 or something like that. And yeah, I fell in love with the show ever since, and become a fan. Okay, so let's talk about episode 6. So this episode's called Never Rick and Morty. So the episode opens up with a bunch of individuals on this plane, on this train, and they all have one thing in common. They're all obsessed with Rick Sanchez, right? And in this first part of this car and this train, there's a bunch of individuals that appear to be bounty hunters, trying to get Rick's bounty. And then in one other part of the car of the train, there's individuals who say how Rick saved Christmas. And then in one other part, there's a bunch of individuals who appear to be Rick's exes. And eventually, of course, Rick and Morty, they're on this train as well, but they had disguises. And at first Rick was just like he was disguised himself as a bounty hunter, and then Morty was actually like this hot chick. Okay, so eventually they find themselves and meet up with each other in the train. And then there's like this ticket holder guy. He's obsessed with getting these people's tickets on this train, and then he rips off his shirt, and he's super swole, right? And he beats Rick and Morty to a pulp, and eventually Rick, uh, somehow he pulls out a gun, he shoots the side of the train, and of course it's like space, right? So he gets sucked out there, the ticket man. And then this show is just this wild, like, imagination, man. I don't know how like these creators come up with this stuff. And then the ticket holder guy, he appeared to be in simulation. He was just playing a video game, but eventually when he actually died, he died in real life. So this is just madness on this part. So it appears that Rick and Morty are actually heading to a certain part of this train, and they disguise themselves as trainees, trying to infiltrate the system. And eventually they're met by, in the first beginning sequence of the episode, there's this bounty hunter, but he's actually not a bounty hunter, sorry. He's actually, I think he's the main caretaker of this whole train. His name is Story Lord, and he uses this machine and tries to extract some energy out of Rick and Morty to, I guess, somehow fuel the train. And then they're brought into a different stream of consciousness, into another reality, into another world. And Rick, pulls some crap out of his butt, right? You know how there's a very fine line between religion and science, right? And how the two may not coincide with each other. But Rick, being the scientist and that he is, he goes out of his way to say, I think I believe in Jesus Christ. God, please save us. And him and Morty are on the ground praying with two knees, and Jesus in this world comes out of nowhere, and then Store Lord jumps into this alternate world while Rick and Morty escape. So yeah, that's crazy. Okay, eventually we get towards the end of the episode, and it's revealed that this was actually just a toy train bought by Morty, given to Rick Sanchez's grandfather, and I guess it's some gift of some special occasion or whatnot. Then eventually, I don't know how this is going on all inside this train, and then Jesus says, maybe I'll give up my sins for you, and he dies on the cross or whatnot, and then he starts bleeding, and then the train falls off the railroad tracks. And this is just like a crazy episode to sum it up. This is pretty much like all the episodes in Rick and Morty. It's definitely not for everyone. This type of humor is definitely catered more to the adult audience. A lot of swearing as well, and a lot of violence too. So it's definitely not for like young kids. My parents back in the day, they wouldn't even let me watch Family Guy or The Simpsons or South Park or those type of shows. Well, and it is a good thought, right? They're just thinking about you. It's bad influence, have a bad mouth. But even if I didn't watch it, I watched it when I was older, and I still have a bad mouth. So it didn't really make up doing much for that part. Oh yes, and then during these commercial breaks, I recognized that Rick and Morty has done some commercials as well. They did a Wendy's commercial, and then what was the other one? Or the Pringles one as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And going back to, I forgot what season, what episode, but you remember I did an episode where I think Rick and Morty traveled back in time somehow, and just to get the stupid Szechuan sauce at McDonald's. I believe the Szechuan sauce, was it during when Mulan came out? I'm not quite sure, but I can't believe the craze of a TV show translated back into real life. So I think there was a Szechuan sauce back in that time, and due to the show, making a resurgence of that sauce. I think it's been a couple of years now, but the Szechuan sauce was a limited item at McDonald's, and there were people lined out the door at McDonald's just to try out the Szechuan sauce. So actually, I did actually try it. I didn't wait too long. Kind of wait until the hype died down a little bit. But, it's just nothing crazy. McDonald's is cool. Chicken nuggets are always my go-to there, but Szechuan sauce is okay. It was alright. Woo! But that's it for today's mukbang. I'm pretty full. The gravy is what does me in. The gravy, it's pretty filling after you keep on dipping with your food. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Hope everyone's good out there and healthy. All right. Peace.